April 1818. A young Zulu king named Shaka stands on a hill, watching thousands of enemy warriors march toward him. He's outnumbered, outmatched, and about to face the biggest test of his life. But Shaka has something his enemies don't expect. A battle formation so deadly, it will change warfare forever. Today, you'll discover how one brilliant tactical mind created the Bullhorns formation that crushed his enemies and terrified the British Empire for decades to come. But first, you need to understand just how hopeless Shaka's situation really was. Let's be clear, this wasn't a fair fight. The Ndwandwe army rolling toward Gqokli Hill had more warriors than Shaka could count. We're talking about battle-tested fighters who had already crushed other kingdoms across the region. These weren't rookies. They were the hammer that King Ndwandwe used to smash his enemies. And Shaka, his Zulu forces were still relatively small, still untested, still trying to prove themselves in a world where weakness meant death. The enemy was led by Ndwandwe, son of the powerful King Ndwandwe himself. This was royal blood coming to spill royal blood. Most military experts would have looked at this situation and said Shaka was marching to his death. The numbers didn't lie. The experience gap was massive. But here's what they didn't understand. Shaka wasn't thinking like everyone else. What happened next would revolutionize African warfare forever. Because while his enemies were counting warriors, Shaka was counting possibilities. You see, Shaka had been watching, learning, thinking, and what he created was pure tactical genius. He arranged his army like a charging buffalo. And I want you to think about this carefully. A buffalo doesn't just run straight at you. It has a chest that powers forward, horns that sweep wide, and a body that follows through. Shaka saw war the same way. The chest. That's his experienced warriors, his veterans. Their job, pin the enemy in place like an animal. Hold them. Make them think they're winning while they're actually trapped. The horns. These were his young, fast warriors. Lightning quick. They would sweep around both sides to encircle. While the enemy was focused on the chest, the horns would be closing in from the flanks. The loins, his reserves, hidden, patient, ready to strike at the perfect moment when the enemy was exhausted and surrounded. And here's the truth that changed everything. This was the first time anyone had used this formation in a major battle. Shaka was writing the rules of war as he fought. When the Ndwandwe attacked, they had no idea they were walking into a trap that would become legendary. The enemy charged uphill, exactly as Shaka wanted. You have to understand, charging uphill drains you. Your legs burn, your lungs scream. Your weapons feel heavier with every step. But the Ndwandwe were confident. They had numbers, they had experience, they thought they had victory. Shaka's chest formation held firm. These weren't just warriors, they were the foundation of everything. While the Ndwandwe exhausted themselves trying to break through, Shaka watched, waited, calculated the perfect moment. Then he unleashed his hidden horns. Imagine you're a Ndwandwe warrior. You've been fighting uphill for what feels like forever. You're tired, but you think you're winning because the enemy isn't retreating. Then suddenly, you hear war cries from your left, war cries from your right. You turn and see Zulu warriors streaming around both flanks like water around a rock. The Ndwandwe found themselves surrounded with nowhere to run. What started as a Zulu disadvantage became total enemy destruction. This wasn't just a battle, it was a masterclass in tactical thinking. But the real test of Shaka's genius wouldn't come for another 60 years, and when it did, it would shock the mighty British Empire.
January 22nd.
1879. The British Army, the same force that had conquered India, that ruled the seas, that called itself invincible, faced the Zulu at Isandlwana. And the Zulu used the same formation that Shaka had perfected at Gqokli Hill. The Impi formed the Impondo Zankomo. The chest advanced against the enemy while the right and left horns enveloped them on either side. Even with modern rifles and artillery, the British couldn't stop the encirclement. Over 1,300 British soldiers died that day. Think about that. A formation created on a hill in 1818 had evolved into a weapon that could defeat European armies. The British had better guns, better equipment, better supplies, but they didn't have a better way of thinking. It proved something that Shaka understood from the beginning. Tactical brilliance could overcome superior technology. The mind matters more than the metal. The impact of this single battle reached far beyond 1818. It created a legacy that still teaches us today.